Reviewing the Florida game, just starting special teams wise, to me, we had two penalties on kickoff return that were huge that hurt us in field position. I thought Paxton done an excellent job kicking the football, controlling, their punt returner. We had really good coverage there and created some really good vertical field position. We had the one fake punt that I thought we executed really well. We just needed to finish it. Probably when we didn't, it cost us field position for the remainder of the first half there. Offensively, felt like once the second quarter started, we were much more aggressive in play calling and started moving the ball at times. We had a couple of times there where we didn't protect like we needed to, where we had some guys open. There was two really critical plays at the end of the third quarter and fourth quarter. We get an intentional grounding where we're throwing the ball down the field and end up giving up a sack. But both of those very easily we could have resulted in points there. But it knocked us out of field goal range and really was too far to actually go for it. I think it was 4th and 14 and maybe 4th and 12. Defensively, again, I thought really done a nice job controlling the run game. There was 3 plays in the game that we got our hands on balls that we didn't come down with interceptions that we needed to. Third down. Again, there's probably 4 third downs in the game that felt like that we're in a good call, just didn't get off the field. They made some plays there. I didn't say it after the game, but, I thought the guys that, hadn't practiced all week, I thought those guys played extremely hard. And, it says a lot about them to come out there and play without any practice. After the game on Sunday, we had a special graduation for our football team who didn't get a chance to participate earlier in graduation ceremonies. I believe it was the week of Auburn. So we had 15 guys that graduated or received degrees on Sunday, and Chancellor Plowman and Coach Fulmer. We had just really a special ceremony for those guys and their families. I thought it was a fantastic event there. We had 2 guys that got their graduate degrees. So, that's good to see. That's why you come to school. Number one is to get a degree. Looking at Vanderbilt, Tennessee Vanderbilt, you always are going to get the best game from Vanderbilt. You look at these guys playing a young quarterback. I think he's leading the country in yards per game for a freshman. When you talk about, I think he's had 3 300-yard games where he's passed for that amount of yardage. They always play hard on defense. Just looking at them in special teams, they create issues there with some unorthodox looks. But our kids are excited about going and playing. I felt like our kids played hard Saturday. They continue to do that and work hard. So we got to go back and go to work this week.
Questions? We will start with David Ubben, and then we will go to David Pascal.
Jeremy, we didn't get to ask you after the game Saturday. What was Kayron Calvert's injury, and moving forward to this week, what are your numbers like in quarantine and infections? Have you had anything additional there?
We got our results back from our Sunday test, and everybody was negative, so that was good. We'll get a couple of players back this week at some point in time. So that'll probably help a little bit more with some depth there. But right now I feel like we're in a good spot with the quarantine.
And Kayron?
Kayron and Cade Mays both had lower leg injuries. I think both of them will probably be out today, or maybe today and tomorrow, but I think we'll probably get them back as the week goes.
Jeremy, you've got the unique situation of now having 4 quarterbacks with starting experience, and all 4 have played in these last 2 games. What would be the timetable on a decision this week? I know your heavy practice is usually tomorrow, right? Or is it, I guess, a long question short, after Wednesday, is that when you kind of sit down and make the decision by Wednesday night?
Yeah, I think if you look at Saturday, we'll obviously with Harrison and JT, we'll take the majority of the reps moving forward. Brian brings a kind of an extra element with his athleticism and just trying to, keep him with a role. And I thought he done a nice job Saturday with the role that he had. So we'll continue doing that moving forward.
And then just out of curiosity, what is the latest you can or have waited in your coaching career before, whether it's a staff you were on or whatever, when a starting quarterback was named? Have you ever had a starting quarterback named as late as Thursday or Friday?
Yeah, I think that's probably normal. And, maybe at the beginning of a season, I've a couple of staffs that I've worked on, the quarterback competition was so close that it was maybe all the way up until Thursday or Friday before the first game.
Thank you.
Brett Hubbs, then Blake Topmeyer.
Coach, a couple more things on the quarterbacks. When you watched the tape, what did you like from Harrison and JT? And then specifically on JT, what has he done on the practice field the last 3 weeks to go from a guy who didn't travel on the road to Arkansas to being a guy who you felt like deserved an opportunity to play Saturday night?
Well, not traveling to Arkansas was really a unique circumstance. At that time, that was the week we had a lot of false positives. And so it was, Thursday before we got a lot of guys cleared, and we didn't know exactly where we were at with a 70-man roster traveling. So that probably wasn't as much about him as it was the other positions on the team when you can only travel 70 guys. But JT's a guy that's continued to work really hard. He started 1 year in high school. He had a really good fall camp this fall, and the couple of plays that he played against Kentucky, it wasn't his best, but he's continued to work hard. And he had, like I said last week, he had a really good 10 days of practice leading up to the game Saturday. So that was good to see. If you just look at the game with him and Harrison, number one, they took care of the football. I thought Harrison showed some poise and stepping up and scrambling and making some plays there. I felt like he handled the, I guess just the signaling from the game, the communication with the O-line, the wide receivers. We did use one time out there about the 30-yard line, and he's telling me when he comes off the field, he was snapping the ball. But anyhow, I thought he'd done a nice job. I thought JT come in and done a really nice job, and Brian did too on the plays he played.
Jeremy, I know Jarrett wasn't able to practice much leading up to the Florida game. Now that he can practice again, how do you reintroduce him to the mix? How do you handle him going forward?
Well, we're gonna go with Brian and JT, and kind of probably stay with the same schedule as we did this past week.
You said Brian.
I said Brian. Yeah, I meant Harrison and JT.
All right, Austin Price, then Jimmy Himes.
Coach, you've got more production out of your tight ends the last couple of games, catching the football. What's that position brought the last couple of weeks that maybe it didn't early in the year? And just talk about Princeton Fant's game Saturday. He seemed like he had a solid game.
Yeah, Princeton he's up here all the time. Football is very important to him. He continues to work hard. He's a guy that early on in his career here bounced around at a couple of different positions, but he's finding a home at tight end. He's a guy that probably the strength of his game is his pass catching ability, his speed and his athleticism. He's worked hard to be a good blocker in the C area, but he's going to continue to improve because football is important to him.
Jeremy, you said Saturday night that you thought you might be too tough on your players. And I wonder, what way did you mean that?
Well, I mean, so you got 10 or 12 guys that hadn't practiced, right? So
Mhm.
it's very easily in the heat of the moment when a guy makes a mistake, you forget that they've not been there for, 14 days, right? So just the reality of the circumstances that's been presented in some of these cases along the season.
Okay. I saw where Josh Palmer's accepted an invite to the Senior Bowl. Does that mean he's already declared that he's not returning, or is there still a chance he could come back? I don't know how that works.
Well, usually we talk to players about these things at the end of the season. It's kind of unusual. I guess this past week would normally have been the SEC championship game. I think that's right. So our season has, been moved back a couple of weeks. So we've not really had those conversations, but it's a great opportunity for Josh to, with the invite to the Senior Bowl. They don't just give those things away. So it's a great opportunity for him.
So does that mean you don't expect him to return?
Well, I probably wouldn't, if he's thinking that way.
Right. Okay.
We'll go to Gentry Estes, then Gustavo.
Yeah, Jeremy, and what's been such a strange season. Do you feel like the program's continued to develop as you'd like, and what gives you confidence as you move forward?
Well, just Saturday, that's a really good football team we played against. There was times in the game that we're playing with them toe to toe, and it's been that way for most of the season. Periodically, with every team we've played, the circumstances around the season, and hey, it's everybody, right? And I only know our circumstances. I don't know the circumstances anywhere else. But our kids play hard. There's lots of really good that we do every single week. You see a lot more younger guys that continue to develop and get an opportunity to contribute. So I feel like our guys are gaining confidence, and that's part of it right now. I can tell you this: when the game's over with Saturday, we got a lot of guys hurting in our locker room. It's the number one thing for us is to win. And obviously we didn't get that done Saturday. But when you look at it, we'll come back in here today and figure out what we did really well, try to continue to develop that part of our football team, figure out the issues that we had during the game. Was it a preparation area? Was it a technique issue? Correct it and continue to move forward.
Gustavo.
Coach, you've been praising your players. They're playing so hard, but sometimes they're not keeping the steadiness from first half to the second half. Do you think the next two games, there's one thing that you want to fix to team keep playing hard, especially in the second half?
Well, I think if you look Saturday, the difference in the ball game is what we call the middle eight, the last 4 minutes of the first half and the first 4 minutes of the second half. So we lost that 14-0, so we didn't play good in the last minute and 38 seconds of the first half on defensively. There's a 3rd and 12 they convert. There's a 3rd and 11 they convert. And then the first drive of the second half, they go down and score. So there's 14 points. If you look, when we had won 8 games in a row, I think 7 out of those 8 games we either tied or won the middle 8. And that's something that, we've always really focused on, and we've got to do a better job executing that part of the game plan.
And how proud you felt, yesterday, senior players graduating such in a tough year?
Well, just the circumstances for all these guys, right? And not just ours, everybody across the country. I'm 46 years old, and the last 9 months is been tough on me, and just like I'm sure it's been tough on y'all. Just the circumstances changing. I can't imagine being a teenager, somebody in college, that the way the whole dynamic of our world has changed. The fact that these guys have stayed the course, worked hard, and continued and finished their degree just speaks volumes about them and our academic support here at the university.
Risa Walker, then Brent Hubbs.
Coach, how crucial is it though to try and get a win for this team to snap this skid and finish off with at least one victory before the season's over?
Yeah, I mean, we're focusing on Vanderbilt. You know, we continue to improve every week, but the bottom line is you want to win football games, right? That's the bottom line. So we've got to figure out a way to put our players in the best position to have a chance to do that.
Coach, two things. One on Velus Jones. What was kind of the reasoning with his increased role and targets towards him down the field on Saturday? And two, how frustrating is it for you? We've heard you say several times throughout the year, we were in a good call on third down and we didn't get it executed, or we were in a good play and we didn't leverage this the right way. How frustrating has that been for you? And how do you get the team to execute defensively, particularly on third down, better than they have been?
Well, just start with Velus. Velus is a guy that, he's strong. He weighs 200 pounds, has experience. He's fast. A guy that we've tried to use in our game plan in a bunch of different ways. So it was good to see us have a chance to get him the ball. Just defensively, I think we were 7 for 15 on third down Saturday, which is like 52 or 53%. Maybe it was 8 for 15. I can't remember, but there's probably 4 calls in the game that we felt like we were in the right call for the play that they had called, and we just didn't get off the field. It obviously goes back to us, right? We've got to do a better job so our players understand what they're trying to do. Got to be more technical, and because some of it was technical, some of it was awareness, you have to go back and just keep coaching it. It's all you can do is just keep coaching the fundamentals, the details, and till you can't get it wrong.
We'll go to Vince Farrar, then Mike Wilson.
Coach, 2 things. We'll go one at a time. When you have an assistant coach on your staff that has a head coaching opportunity, what's typically that line of communication? Because obviously there's a lot involved recruiting the team. What's typically that been like in your experience?
Yeah, I've worked at places where those opportunities have presented themselves, and it's for us as coaches. We always continue to do our job, but we just like players want to advance their career. Coaches want to advance their career, and for me, I want to help coaches do that. It's a great opportunity for guys if they get those opportunities to do it to maybe take that next step. So it's not unusual. It goes on really probably with every staff.
But typically, is it pretty open? They're coming to you and say, hey, coach, heads up, this is what's in front of me on the table. Is that typically happen, or do you find out after the fact?
No, well, we've only had one situation here since I've been here. It was with Tyson, and right. Tyson knew that with the Western Kentucky job, it's very open.
And then the other thing is with Vanderbilt making a coaching change, now having an interim coach, and obviously their game was canceled last week. What do you expect in terms of differences now without Derek Mason having that coaching change?
Well, there's really nothing to really go on, so they've not played a game without Derek being the head coach. And let me tell you, those guys played really hard for Derek. I thought he always done a fantastic job, just coaching against him, recruiting against him, just, very well respected within our conference for the job that he did there. And knowing the guys that are on the staff there now, those kids will be ready to play, and they'll play hard.
Jeremy, Brent Samaglia just posted that he's opting out of the remainder of the season due to injuries. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. And then do you expect him back next season?
Yeah, I just got done having a conversation with him, and You know, I've said this before, he's played through, you know, difficult circumstances throughout the season, you know, and me and him just got done talking, and, you know, he feels like that it's better for him not to participate the remainder of the season and put him in a better spot to get ready for next year. So his indication to me is, yeah, he's coming back next year.
Then who do you expect to have handle place kicking duties the rest of the season?
Well, Paxton's been doing it. Paxton's been our backup, and you know, if not him, Toby Wilson. So when we play home games, Toby comes and he's kind of the backup kicker. You know, this past week, Paxton was not in practice the entire week, so Toby was there and was ready. So we'll figure that out as the week goes.
All right, we'll go back to David Pascal, then David Ubben.
Jeremy, I think Vanderbilt fell below both the 53-player threshold and then a couple of a position group or two. Have you received any assurance from them that they'll be good to go?
No, I've not talked to anybody from Vanderbilt. We're working on them. I think the last time we were supposed to play them, we practiced on a Sunday night, took Monday off, and we're in the middle of our Tuesday practice when we got word that we wasn't playing. So we've probably worked 2 days on them already, and today will be our third day.
Are Philip and Candace, are they handling that? Would that be something they do as far as communication?
It goes through the SEC office.
Okay.
Jeremy, on some of those, on Brent's opt-out, have you had any other conversations with guys, you know, this week about opting out or throughout the season?
No.
All right, Austin Price, then back to Jimmy Himes.
Coach, Ole Miss has paused activities till Wednesday, and they play A&M this week. Obviously, the league office right now has that power where they can move games around. What would be a comfortable time frame in which, you know, you would switch opponents and have time to adequately prepare?
Well, we already started working on A&M 1 week, so we've probably kind of been down that road before. So, hey, we'll play whoever they tell us to play. We're just going to worry about the things that we can control.
Jeremy, do you feel like you might have missed Brandon Kennedy at the center position just from his knowledge of making sure everybody's lined up right, knowing who to block?
Well, I thought that Cooper and Jerome played well. You know, done a lot of really good things. You know, Jerome's not had an opportunity to play a whole lot since the Missouri game, and he was a guy that, you know, really we felt like was one of our best, you know, 6 or 7 offensive linemen going into the season, and he played a lot in the first 2 games. So getting him back out there was good. I thought Coop done a really nice job. And hey, we'll be happy to get Brandon back whenever that comes.
Are you have you dispensed with the Sunday night practices? Are you going to do that anymore?
Well, we didn't do it this Sunday because of graduation.
Okay.
You know, I just felt like it was you know, we had parents in town for the game. We had a graduation ceremony at 2:00, and I just felt like it was a great opportunity for our players and their families to really kind of enjoy the moment.
Okay. One other thing too with your quarterbacks, do you grade Shrout any differently than you would grade Bailey because Shrout came in the 4th quarter? Do you do that any differently in terms of their assessment?
No, I can assure you, Florida was trying to stop us, and Dan was going to try to score more points.
Couple more questions. Teresa Walker, then Dan Harrelson.
Jeremy, with the way the pandemic has affected high schools across the country, how does that maybe affect how you and your staff go about evaluating sophomores and juniors for future classes? What's been the struggle there trying to plan ahead?
Well, really the circumstances are different everywhere. You know, there's schools that played in the state of Tennessee. There's schools that didn't. Some of the schools that played, maybe they didn't have a whole lot of practice time leading up to when they started to play. Maybe some of them had a lot of practice time. You know, the state of Alabama, Georgia, Florida to an extent have played a season. I think Louisiana has, maybe Mississippi. North Carolina has not. South Carolina started late. So it's unusual across the country, right? So, you know, you just got to worry about the ones that you get, not the ones that you don't. You got to really focus and make sure that you know what you're getting. For the younger kids, it's unfortunate because you don't have camps and an opportunity to bring them in to kind of see where they're at. So, you know, I think we're all trying to adjust to this. And, you know, we've had a plan that we've really worked hard to execute. And we'll continue to do that, you know, with the NCAA changing rules and allowing players to come back or this season not to count, you know, that also affects your numbers a little bit when you talk about recruiting.
Dan?
Coach, with Vanderbilt and obviously Todd Fitch filling in the rest of the way for Vanderbilt, how far back do you go with him as an offensive mind? Of course, he does have some history with Ryan Day, dating back to Boston College. Do you look at any of that for preparation for this game, or is that a little bit too far back?
No, we'll probably look and see what they're doing right now.
Last two questions, David Ubben, then Eric Kane.
Jeremy, how many guys do you expect to go ahead and sign early when the early signing period kicks off next week? And what are the questions you've kind of found yourself answering the last few weeks as you've talked to recruits?
You know, it's hard to predict how many guys will sign, you know, with the early signing period, you know, because it's their choice. They can sign in December, sign in February. So you try to figure that out as you get closer to it. You know, there's a lot of them that we obviously know because they're mid-year, you know, that obviously plays into some of it. But, you know, really in recruiting, it's pretty interesting because from a recruiting standpoint, the circumstances at their high schools this year have been so different than they're used to. You know, it's really a lot of the questions is about, are we going to have school in the spring? When's the next time that you think recruiting will be open? You know, just things of that nature.
Last question, Eric.
Hey, Jeremy, if it is Paxton Brooks that handles the kickoff or the field goal units, if it is him, how challenging is that for a guy to punt, to kick off, to do field goals, PATs, all that?
You know, it'd be the first time that he's done it in a college game. He did it in high school. So, you know, I think you just have to be careful about how much time he kicks during the week and just be efficient with how many kicks that he has.
All right. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.